The flight that took off yesterday from India is flying at an all-time high, ladies and gentlemen, as Danial soars through the group stages on day one. Will the domination continue on day two? That's going to be the question of the hour, which will be discussed upon by none other than me, Scared Yet, and alongside me, we've got Shubhank as well. Man, yesterday was historical for India as Danial won against his counterpart of Malaysia. But there's still one win which he could not register yesterday.
And that was an unfortunate draw, I would say. And the best part about it was he knew what mistakes he did. And that was not about the gameplay, but more about the tactical and the substitutions that he was not allowed to make. There was no game pause. But keeping that in mind, a player like Danial, who defeated Mbappe, the current world champion, and then directly knowing what mistakes he's doing, shows how focused he's on his game. He has played 6 games, won 5 of them in a dominating fashion, drew just one single game out of it, and he is sitting currently at the tabletop. We need to win just in the top 4, but that lad is completely dominating the Group B.
Fun fact is that not even a single game of his was close apart from this, the game against Vietnam, which was 2-2 in a draw. But apart from that, every other game was either a 4-1 or it was a 4-0, 3-0s. So you could clearly see how Danial is, he's loved that aggression. He's constantly going in for those counters every single time, whatever the situation is, wherever he is. He doesn't care. He's ready for those scores. And I think so that is the attitude which separates him from the rest. And one thing that you rightly mentioned as well, that is something where he is able to adjust and adapt instantly. And I think so that is going to be something which we constantly will have to focus on, because if that's the attitude he's bringing in the group stages, man, I'm already worried for all the other teams who he will be facing later on, specifically today and then potentially tomorrow in those games as well. As we have a look at the yesterday's result, I really want to have a look at, discuss a little bit more about it as well, because that will give us a clearer picture as to how solid his entire play was.
Yes, like the yesterday's games were completely in his favor. Like when we talk about them, we should have a look at the results as well, because the initial 2 games that we had were against South Korea and then Malaysia. Opening of the tournament is the most, I would say, dicey play to make. Like your palms are sweaty, it is nervy from both the ends. But a player like Danial, he did not care. 3-0 against Korea Republic, 3-1 against Malaysia, and it was a complete dominant play from his side. The scores are like 3-0, 3-1, but the amount of chances he was creating were phenomenal in numbers. Like if he could score each and every one of those, like the score would be in double digits.
I 100% agree. And the fun fact is that, every single shot that he was taking was a shot on target. The storyline for Danial was entirely different than what we really saw happen to our eTigers on console, right? Yeah, we were seeing a lot of chances being created, but that finishing was the part where they were not able to, you could say, smooth out the edges of the curves. They were still rough around the edges, but Danial on the other side, man, he takes the shot, it's 90% going in the goal and 10% being stopped by the keeper, only because the keeper is pretty good out here. People using Schmeichel and Buffon. Otherwise, yes, you know that this lad is scoring. And the fun fact is his counter plays. That's what always catches you off guard. And that was one of the big reasons why you could see that 4-1 and 4-1 scoreline against Hong Kong and New Zealand too. Because this man is absolutely mind-blowing whenever it comes down to those counters.
Like the formation he is running, 4-2-2 setup with attacking midfielders, and the pass or maybe the speed of the passing is what is, I would say, the differentiating factor between him and the other players. Because the way Danial plays the game, it is so rapid that the opponent is not able to adapt. And like if we talk about the overall teams, if we have a look at the group standings, we see a clear difference in the goals scored and goals conceded. Because with the pace of the game that he's having, the amount of chances he is creating, the goals for department is so much dominant from his side that there is no team that is coming close to him.
That's one of the best things that you mentioned, right? That constant domination, constant scoring that's always coming in. And I really want to look at if he's going to go for the exact same thing today as well, because we know this man to never play defensive. He doesn't care what the scenario is. He's like, yes, I know this is one style that I know. I'm going to follow it for as long as it's giving me success. And he said that in the interview yesterday too, that for as long as it's working, it's absolutely fine. When a day should arrive where he needs to change something, he will bring that into adaptation as well. And the best thing is, if you're able to hold your cards for a longer duration, the stakes on that bet just keeps on increasing, and eventually your confidence is something that everyone witnesses. So Daniel,
Exactly.
with this kind of performance, if he continues that today as well, yeah, we're going to see a lot of changes. As we have a look at the rankings as well, it's obviously India up on top with a 5-1 scoreline with 5 wins and only 1 draw.
Well, this is something pretty humongous from us. Although, the surprising thing is that even Vietnam has somewhat amount of similar goals scored, 23 on their end. So they are currently the, I would say, the highest scorer here. And then Malaysia not far back with 20 goals. So they are also catching up the pace. But the point differential that is here, it is somewhat different, I would say.
Yes.
Since 7 matches have been played by Vietnam and Malaysia, so they have played one more game than us. Today's game India has yet to play, so we still have one game in hand. That's why the point differential is just +3. But now, if we start on a winning run, we are surely qualifying for the top 4. First of all, so we are going to the playoffs. There is no way here that a 16-point team not able to make it to the playoffs. But if we talk about today's matches, it will be in the same run of order as yesterday. We are going to face Korea Republic yet again in the opening matchup.
Yeah, again, the exact same scenario which you mentioned. Korea Republic, then followed up by Malaysia. Then we've got Guam. You could consider that as a bit of an easier matchup, considering how Guam has been struggling for such a long time now. And then it follows up with Vietnam, the only team that was able to draw against India. And then Hong Kong and New Zealand, I think so they still should be a piece of cake coming in for India. And I like the fact that you picked up that one stat, right, where Vietnam is the most scoring team out here currently in the FIFAe regional qualifiers. My big question is, the main reason why there's still a big difference is because they have conceded a lot of goals too. I saw 4 draws for Vietnam. So that means they've constantly been conceding those goals as well. I think so that it's their defense which they kind of need to work upon a little bit, because their offense looks pretty solid, like you rightly mentioned.
Well, that is so true. But again, at the same time, if you are able to score so many goals, that is like on the positive side of things. You are getting a lot more points. Like 13 points are already in your bag. So
Yes.
not losing a game, getting at least one single point from 4 different games. Yeah, a victory would have been better on their end, but they are also on the very same page for the qualification as we are. Pretty much dominant. And now with the live score being updated, Korea has just won their first match for the day as well. And now they are on 12 points. So they have started hot as well. But now they have to face the best player in Group B.
Perfectly mentioned as well. The best player in Group B. And with the kind of performance this man is showing, I wouldn't even say that it's an understatement that this could really be one of the best team out in both the groups. Yes, I mean, if I'm having a conversation about Group A as well, Thailand is dominating, like always. We saw this team even last year being in those knockout stages as well, followed up by Indonesia that are pretty close to them with just 1 loss, and that too was registered against Thailand themselves. And then it's followed up by Japan and Brunei Darussalam. So all of these teams looking pretty solid too on that group. You have to keep an eye on your potential opponents for the knockout stages as well, considering Danial is going to qualify.
Well, that is definitely be true. Like in the playoffs, you will have to win 2 back-to-back matches to have the upper seed to qualify to Riyadh. So that is something you have to keep in mind in the long term. But at the same time, currently we are just focused on our group. The first match against Korea is definitely going to be a very crucial one. If we start on the winning note, we will have, I would say, a perfect start to the day. If you look at the Group B, Malaysia, India, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Korea, New Zealand, and Guam. New Zealand and Guam, the 2 nations, are having a really hard time, and the qualification is kind of dicey for them since the top 4 teams have a big lead already. Hong Kong, on the other side, they are somewhere close to the qualification part, but then they have to win each and every game that remains.
Exactly, that's the big thing. You have to win every single one of those games. Like, it's not even about a draw at this point, right? You have to register that win. But because of those previous 1 game that every other team has played at this point, Korea has got that big cushion now. And that's not just of 1 game. It is of exactly 5 points. Right? 7 and 12 differential, and they've also built a decent difference in terms of goals scored too. 13-7, 13 goals scored, 7 conceded, 6+ goal differential. So that's also something that could eventually help them out, considering Hong Kong is still sitting on 0. So yeah, it's like even more important for Hong Kong to try and win their following up games as well against every other team. That also includes India, it includes Vietnam. Both of these teams have been looking very solid. Malaysia, then again, following up them, it's a 4-1 and 2 scoreline for their team as well. Pretty good, looking very solid in terms of what they want to do. And it is also into consideration that Malaysia is not really playing with Mbappe early on. Yes, for the first couple of games, they were playing with Mbappe yesterday, but then they switched up the players.
Well, that is true. But now, if you have a look at the draft that we are running, Pele CR7, again, the similar type of players, a 4-3-2 setup. We know what we are capable of. Romario and CR7 up top. On the wings, we have Eden Hazard as an attacking midfielder on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we were running Mo Salah as a substitution as well in the second half. Bebeto was coming into the play. Thuram was not given so much of the playtime, but yeah, we know if he is needed, he will be there. But a player that has surprised so many people is Andre Pirlo. That card and the assist that Pirlo was giving yesterday with the crosses and the driven through passes, it was so beautiful to witness.
I could never really expect that from Patel. And with the way, yes, as you said, how he was being used as well perfectly by Danial, it just seemed like he is one of the best cards that he could have picked for. And I think so this also falls down in the same thing where Danial yesterday mentioned in the interview that he's liking this system more than what he liked previously, because considering you were only allowed to use your national teams, it did not really give you enough leeway to work with a lot of skill moves that the specific players or the traits that those players would have. This time around, you can build your team depending on the play style that you want to run. And I guess this kind of resonates with Danial, and it's basically given him a perfect buff.
Well, that is true. But again, I just want to look at the Korean squad now. Like, what are they running? Because like we have faced so many different squads, but I think Korea was the one that was running 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, the diamond player, and yeah, they have the Totti, Iniesta, and Cafu on the right side. CR7 as the sole striker. Then Araujo and Patrick Vieira in the CB and CDM positions. Yamal as well on the wing. So there is a possibility that they might change up the way they were playing yesterday. Since Korea had no opportunities against us at all, the narrow formation was just not working for them. They might try something different since they do have a right winger and a left winger in their draft.
That's something that they'd eventually have to work with out here. Even yesterday you could clearly see, right, Korea was facing that problem in the game itself, where yes, they were running that fully centralized lineup, but against India, it wasn't really working out that very well. India was able to counter it picture perfectly up. So it's going to be pretty fun to witness as to how it's going to move forward out here. Important game for Korea. They won their first one. They started their day properly. But now it's going to be another game where they have to score it a bare minimum draw. Victory, yes, it's still a bit of a far-fetched idea, but if they're able to get in some of those good counters, maybe not from wing, maybe directly from the center, then there's a high possibility that at least they can give a good competition to Danial out here. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to happen or not, because again, a solid day yesterday, that had happened, maybe a good start today. We'll all see that, ladies and gentlemen, after a very short break. Don't go anywhere. With all breaks now being left behind, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be hopping into the first game of the evening. It's the FIFA eFootball regional qualifiers featuring mobile out here. Danial up in front of us facing Korea Republic. Kickoff instantly in favor of Danial as he moves the ball around all the way towards the back lines. Now, yesterday, this match went in favor of him. He was able to easily get the scoreline and then move forward. The centralized path was not working, but Korea Republic this time around on the offense, well, a lovely last touch tackle coming in from Danial. It's eventually going to send the ball forward.
Now, again, look at Romario, man. That 1-2 passes yet again. But this time, I'm seeing something different from Danial. He's holding up the play a lot more than yesterday, but this time around, CR7 on the edge of the crossbar. The first attempt, the chance is just not on target from the lethal striker. But winning the position has never been an issue for us. Gets the ball right back, but also losing it in the center of the pitch. Now Totti has a chance to make CR7 through on goal, but Ruben Diaz just marking him perfectly.
Beautiful tight defense coming in out here, but there's still that opening. The header goes in perfectly. And guess what? Who took the page out of book of Daniel? It is Korea Republic. Kilitsoy instantly landing in that header right from behind the defender. And Daniel just realized his defense was actually pretty good. But in the way how Korea created that space by passing the ball around back in the mid and then sending it through towards the wing, that was a crucial maneuver.
Oh man, this looks deadly at this point. Because the way we lost the possession in the midfield and then this inside pass on, I would say, Francesco Totti, and then a lot of passes which were not to be seen yesterday. This is something like Koreans have adapted against us, I would believe. And even the formation looks a tad bit different. They are going for a 4-4-2 wide. So this is something that we need to be careful of. And yes, they are marking the passing lanes. And now again, CR7 through on goal, takes a driven finesse, and CR7 bought the second goal for Korea. And out of the blue, Danial, he is trailing by 2 goals.
The first 20 minutes of the game itself, something that you never see from this man. This lad has been absolutely in control of the game yesterday, but seems like the flight is facing some turbulences out here, and it's not flying in the smoothest way possible. Korea 2, India 0.
This is looking deadly.
Yeah, it seems like coming in from a movie which we don't really want to mention out here right now, but you see the reference I'm making.
But again, we know that Danial is capable of making a comeback. All he needs is to just find composure. And right now, he's just having some mistimed passes in the midfield. And one of the major reasons is that 4-4-2 wide, his players have been perfectly marked. Just look at the tight marking of the entirety of the pitch. Now Romario, he has a run through on goal. Pelé running inside and the cross. CR7 on the edge of it and the crossbar yet again. 2 times in a row, back to back. CR7 had the perfect opportunity to take the scoreline, but hitting that crossbar. And now on the foot, trying to cut inside. Driven. Romario cannot get on the edge of it. 3 chances created, but the back of the net is still not to be found.
Now it was a 4v4 back in the defense, now down to 3v3 as McAllister will move in around the wing. 1 extra touch, sends it back in, a header. Oh, lovely stop coming in. But a follow-through rebound in the legs of Cristiano Ronaldo did not go through. The defense was absolutely perfect. A chance of counter, no way that Danial could be able to do that. Every single lane has been marked perfectly. McAllister as well. Just stopping Eden Hazard now. It's going to be sent back in through. Cristiano Ronaldo has got in centers, got some space, moves it around. Romario could not catch it. Back towards that defense line is where the ball was stopped in as Platini now moves it around towards the left wing.
Stanisic wins the ball back. Perlo, missed pass. The wing was open. He tried to go direct to the striker and misses the ball. And now CR7 with the 1-2 passes. Going to the wing. Platini running inside the box. Had the opportunity, but Patrick Vieira, the last ditch defense from the key player, wins the ball, loses a bit of possession though. But now, inside the box again, the opener from the team has been stopped yet again. Korea, they are looking deadly with this attack.
Looking super solid right now, and they're just able to stop in Danial so very well out here. You could clearly see now there's going to be some changes happening in from this man, 100%. This changes the position of Ronaldo and Romario out here, so that's interesting to see as to what and how it's going to translate into the game. But
And
man,
maybe
this is
the bigger reason I see for that transition is that first of all the pitch side has to be changed, and now the chances that CR7 was getting on the edge of it, he wants Romario to be the one so that maybe he can dribble more, and
maybe
instead of getting a cross from Romario, he can have CR7 who can actually dribble and take a power shot. So yeah, that's an opportunity there, but Fabio Cannavaro perfectly intercepting the passing lanes. Similarly done by Patrick Vieira as well. Now Romario on the edge of the box, takes a shot, drives the ball home. Start of the second half in the favor of eTigers. Margins have been brought a lot more closer.
Super close out here, yes, as you just mentioned. A 2-0 lead before the half is never very comfortable. It's just one goal away from being brought in back into the game, because now just one more attack from Danial and this will be equalized. I love the fact how Vieira was able to steal it. You could see that position, right? Because Korea was ready to go in for that through ball and that passing lane was blocked off perfectly, and then an instant counter into a Romario scoring the goal towards the bottom right corner. Now Korea, they're going to be put under a lot of pressure. Look at that heavy press coming in instantly right after the kickoff, and you could see every single player almost being marked in out here. The switching is perfect. Totti is going to be sending it through. McAllister catches it. There's an opportunity. Sends it out in front. Rebound goes in back. And Korea reply back in style in the next 3 minutes into the game as Michael Prettini scores in another one. Unfortunate for Danial, but Korea are looking in hot shot form today.
Oh, nothing is going in India's favor at this point. A good save, a good interception, again just getting diced out. Although could have been an offside call, so close, but then GG Woofer, we kind of expected better there. But the ball, the rebound just falling directly for Prettini. Scan the score line, have been doubled up for the Koreans. Team India needs some substitute. Thuram being one of those, Lautaro Martinez being the second guy. But if you look at the formation, oh, that is an interesting one. Koreans, they are going for a 4-1-2-3. Double CM, but then 3 central strikers. Like, they are not wingers, but playing so much centers to the pitch now.
This is something that's basically been catching Danial off guard out here, right? But if you really consider, if those first 2 headers were not really on the crossbar, I'm pretty sure this scoreline would have been a 3-3.
Yes.
It's not like Danial is not getting those attacking chances. He is getting those attacking chances. Since you're playing 3 heavy attackers, in the mid there will be certain openings, and that's what he's trying to exploit multiple times. But if you really look at what the traits for those players are or where they are being positioned, I'd have to say, Korea, I don't know if they'd be able to keep exactly this kind of composure in the last 10 minutes of the game. So if the lead is still of only 1 goal, then I'm pretty sure Danial would be able to make this big comeback.
And now I think, it could have been the start of the perfect kickoff. Eden Hazard was just on the edge of it, but again, the interception is on point from the Korean side. Yes. Lob through pass, back to Thuram. He has a muscular build, can drive inside, take a finesse, but again the woodwork strikes. But this time the rebound falls for Lautaro Martinez. The Argentinian striker makes the double. And now the score have been brought up closer yet again. 1 more goal and we will tie up with the Korean lineup.
This is the exact thing I was talking about. Yes, there are a lot more attackers on the other side, but this gives Danial more chances to try and go in for those scores. And fortune favors the bold, and this time Danial was more bold from the other. Ball going in back to the rebound. And this is the new change that is eventually brought in, right? We've always seen him going for this one. Lautaro Martinez, he's brought in at the perfect time, somewhere around the 60th minute mark. And with the way how that pace changes up on towards the attacking front, that is something which temporarily catches everyone off guard, right? Because they get habitual of that slow pacey attack because of the lack of stamina. But right now, Korea, they've got to be careful. Oh, lovely.
Crazy press.
Look at that press.
And despite all this, the possession is still not won. So I would say the luck factor is completely in Korea's department as of now. 3 crossbars, 1 woodwork already hit the post. Like 4 chances have been just blocked by the post. And those chances could have been rebound inside rather than coming out. So yeah, that is something that we have to keep in mind. And Koreans have scored some pretty nasty ones too, where the goalkeeper is not able to save the ball. The defender is able to take the touch but still not keeping the possession after that tackle. So some misfortunate plays on the India's end, but we are still completely into the game. Just one more goal to be converted here and we can aim for a victory after that. And now Daniel bringing in Eduardo Camavinga, who have been a key player yesterday and now makes a run inside yet again. A finish!
Ooh.
Almost! Bebeto! Could have been a perfect strike.
Nice opportunity out here. It's not even too far away. Pretty close to that post. This could have been the equalizer that Danial has been looking for, but unfortunate. And you can clearly see the frustration on his face as well right now. He knows that these are the kind of scores that should go in.
Unlucky.
And they were going in yesterday as well. But look at this pass. Out here coming in, Platini. He's the one who's holding it lovely through. What a fantastic play from Platini. Sends it in the feet of Ronaldo as he scores in and the lead increases back to the second. And indeed, that is a golden foot.
Man, this game is just unfortunate for Team India. There is nothing wrong what Daniel is doing, but anything that Korea tries is served in the golden spoon. Just look at that. Platini outside of the foot, lobs the ball. CR7 is completely marked. The defender is running with him, but still not able to get the touch. Two guys from the eTigers are blocking CR7, but the ball is so perfect that no defender is able to mark it. Man, the amount of unfortunate things happening in this match is kind of sad, to be honest. But hey, one of those games, I suppose.
Lovely pass. Back in the centre out here, but the last one has been blocked perfectly. A lot of players out in the back. You could clearly see Korea going in for a solid defense out here. Again, a through being made. Hwang Hee-chan wanted to run away on the back of it, but could not really steal it away. Bebeto now going to send it all the way through to Mohamed Salah. Headers back to Thuram Martinez. Now going to send it back to Thuram Martinez. Back to him. Will be stolen at the very end by Onana. 84th minute into the game, and this could very well be the first loss that Danial registers in the league stages. 5 more minutes along with some of the extra time being brought in out there. It's going to be maximum of 2. I don't see anything more than that, as right now Martinez going to run the ball around, back into the wing, sends it, cut back, perfect, as it goes back in the net. But Korea are still leading by 1.
Can we make the historic comeback in the last remaining seconds? 1 minute plus stoppage time is what we have. We need to high press from the kickoff, need to win the ball back high up the pitch, and then go for a quick goal. So many things to do, so little time remaining. Just 1 goal deficit to be turned around. Just look at that. A driven pass and on the back foot of the defender. Could not even mark it. But now, the stoppage time, how much time will be added is the bigger question.
Oh, look at that. Look at where Bebeto is. Camavinga is now going to fulfill the shoes on towards that centre mid position over towards the left side of the field. Every single one is going to run up forward to try and steal it away and maybe score this 1 goal. This could be the draw that we are looking for. But Korea, I wouldn't say serve to them, but these are 3 points that they would really need. He's going to send it all the way towards Kafu. He's going to waste the time. He wants to make sure that the pressure is on Danial out here. It's going to change the wing entirely. My goodness, +6 added extra minutes. This is an absolutely disastrous play. 3 more minutes to work. And that's a yellow card foul, so the free kick is going to be offered. Man, oh man, South Korea, or rather Korea Republic, know what they need to do. And they're just making sure that they do not throw it all away.
We just need to win the ball back at this point, and we have the position now. The final 2 minutes that remains. Rodri lobs the ball high up in the air. Needs to win the header. We will win it down. Bebeto, he's on the run. Driving inside. Mohamed Salah. Hidden pass. Back. 1-2. Driving inside the box. But Fabio Cannavaro blocks it off the very last second of the game. Cannavaro masterclass from the Korean Republic side, and Team India, we face the first defeat of the group stages. 4 Korea Republic, 3 for India.
Man, You know what? Yes, it was definitely a defeat, but I am absolutely flabbergasted by the game that it was back and forth instantly. And it came down to that one specific thing I said, that if in the last 10 minutes the lead is only of one goal, we'd be able to make that comeback. If it is anything more than one, then that's going to become very difficult. Even though at the very last second, you could clearly see there was this one opportunity that Danial was brewing up, right? But unfortunate that it did not go in well, or rather I'd have to say very well played to Korea, man. The defeats yesterday, they did not fumble today.
Yeah, that is so true. And majority of the part came from the tactical changes they made. They played a wider formation today, started off with a 4-4-2, then went to a narrow 4-1-2-3 formation, triple strikers up front, two center mids, blocking the center of the pitch, and then making sure that no space is given inside the box, and Fabio Cannavaro was on top of his game. But at the very same time, CR7 missing out some sitters, two headers, and then the shot of the woodwork. So those three chances, I would say, if they were converted, scoreline would have been so much different.
I mean, if two of them would have been converted, we would have won the game. One of them, it would have been a draw. But yeah, so you know what? I just have to brush it down by saying that Nene just wanted to make sure group stages are a bit more interesting, so that there's a few tweaks in the leaderboard itself. Maybe we're going to dominate against the game of Vietnam. We'll have to see all of that though. But yeah, a pretty solid game coming in. But now, not really the start that we were looking for, and that is, or rather, that could potentially translate into the game against Mbappe now against Myanmar.
Well, that will be really interesting because the Malaysian players will definitely be ready for us. And the thing is, Danial have played a set of style yesterday against them. Korea were able to adapt, and I'm guessing the same will be done by the Malaysian squad too. So if there is something similar, or like a counter formation, like a 4-2-3-1 on their end, or maybe a similar 4-4-2 matching the formation, things might look very different. But on the same note, the thing is, what type of changes will Malaysia make, or they are comfortable with what they were running yesterday? Because that match will be so crucial for us. The qualification is very much secured, but we still need to make sure that we get a good seed in the playoffs.
That's one of the biggest things which you mentioned, right? We need that good seed out here. And the next match, again, India taking on Malaysia. That's going to be something that we'd have to watch out for. You would always want to have a bit of an easier path when it comes down to those double elimination brackets, because even after winning and being in the top 4 in the group stages, you still have to win 2 more games before you end up losing 2. So it's not going to be easy. It's still going to be a long way out from here. So every single game matters. And Daniel, I'd have to say, you are supposed to register 1 loss in a tournament, and it better come sooner rather than later. So I think so him facing that quick adaptation by the Korean side, now that's going to help him evolve into these group stages itself. So I'm going to really look forward to as to how things are going to happen out here.
Oh, that is true. Like, the Malaysian matchup will definitely be a crucial part of that. Like, if we are able to win it, get a draw out of it, or maybe something that I really don't want to mention. As for the draft, there will be no changes on their end. Patrick Vieira, Araujo, CR7. Although this squad is definitely capable of running a different line of setup. Diego Forlan, CR7 can start up front in a 4-4-2. Kaka, and then on the right wing, we can see Snyder coming in as double cam. So a 4-3-2 setup is also possible. There is a lot more things going on with the draft which they are running. But let's see if they are actually able to get a result in their favor, or will Danial will destroy them yet again with a similar scoreline as of yesterday. How the match will go, we'll find that out right after a very short break. And we are back into the action of the FIFA E-World Cup regional qualifiers, where Team India has unfortunately faced the first loss of the group stages, but now it's time to rise back up as we face against our arch rival, the Malaysians.
It's going to be super fun to witness as to how this one's going to be facing, or rather panning out here. Eden Hazard's going to move in, wanted to go for the near post shot out here, will eventually be stopped instantly. I thought that this could basically be a cutback or rather a pass inside, but all the lanes were blocked out here. So he probably wanted to surprise out on the other side. Didn't really work out, but it's totally cool. A corner going in favor of Danial. And we know how deadly he's been on these headers.
He's just trying that again. Could not just get the contact, but Eden Hazard definitely has won the ball back. And now he's trying to keep a possession, finds the pass inside, CR7 goes back, across, nah man, another block, back-to-back blocks there. And in the initial 10 minutes, it is just eTigers spamming attacks after attacks, but the opening is still to be found.
It's something that they'd have to work with right now. Another corner being sent in, a header though, lovely block from the defender. Rodri had an opportunity, but it couldn't quite. Ended up being closed off out here. It's going to be still one. Hold on, Romney. Almost had that. A lovely tackle yet again. An opportunity on the other side. Ronaldo on the other side will not be able to finish things off. A lovely last touch defending, and now there's a possibility of the counter coming in. There's a very nice chance, but Patrick Vieira, lovely steal.
How did it even read that? The entirety of the game flow was a left wing play, and Danial was so clever to switch it to the right wing. Patrick Vieira, man, one of the best CDMs to ever play this game. He has been so ever present for the Malaysian and so for the Indians as well. But now, another through pass inside the box. CR7 takes a near post touch. The power was not behind the shot, so a good save from the buffer. And now, it is time for a corner, but this time from the yellow jerseys.
And today has been a bit weird if you'd really think about it, right? Because it has been a day where Danial has started things off on defense for both the games. Against Korea and right now against Malaysia. So that's something which clearly indicates that there's been a lot of study as to what this man really likes to do. And there's been some counter strategies being developed. And those passes have not really been going through perfectly. But this one went on down. Pretty nice. A lovely last touch tackle. He held on to the ball for a second longer. And now there's another opportunity for a counter on the other side.
Big cross. A cutback. Oh, and nobody able to get on the edge of it. A powerful cutback indeed. But CR7 is just nutmegging Stanisic. And a guy who was the major right back yesterday is having a really hard time against the Malaysian squad. Already missed 2 tackles back to back. But now Romario just misplaces the pass directly to Saliba. And another lob pass going into the action. And it looks like yesterday it was only Danial who was using so much of the lob through passes. But now it looked like everyone is trying that.
Seems like he created the meta and everyone has adapted through it right now. Lovely through Pele. This should be the equalizer. Or rather the opener on this side. And it will absolutely be. Pele, the Brazilian champ, the Brazilian legend. Open things up for Danial in style.
Man, this was so much required from the Indian squad. We are creating so many chances and it is in every game, but we are just not clinical enough. But this time around, a shot was just perfect. A driven finish from the left foot from Pele. Well, he does not have a weak foot to be honest. So he can hit the ball from either of the feet. And then the composure on the shot. Looked like an opportunity we could have occur sooner or later. But if we were able to convert it was the bigger question. And now with that, Danial has taken the lead finally into the game.
Big one as well. If you really think about it, considering all the attacks that Malaysia was bringing in on the table. This one was absolutely necessary. And this man is not slowing down. Just one extra pass over towards the back, and this is the adaptation, right? Normally, he would send the pass in through perfectly at the very first touch, but this time around, he's passing it a little bit slow. He's holding it down, sending it back, constantly changing the directions, keeping the other person in confusion. And look at this beauty. The lad now finally finding that opportunity. Romario, and that finish couldn't have been any better. Right at the edge of the halftime, he scores the second and keeps the lead against Malaysia.
What a player, man. Just look at that passing, such beautiful possession play, and then taking 1v1 with a defender, Romario. We all know what this guy is capable of. Dribbling inside, and then when the opportunity arrived, when the entirety of the centre backs were just focusing on CR7 making a run, a box of space opened for Romario finesse, and this time with the right foot, top right corner, 2-0 for the eTigers.
Big opening coming in. And on the back of it now, this could potentially be the last attack if Malaysia pushes it forward, but a lovely interception coming in at the last second. Perfect. Now on the back of it, India 2, Malaysia 0. So the pressure is still going to be on them. And I love the fact how even that first loss did not really fizzle out the confidence of Danial out here. He was instantly ready to counter. But look at the formation coming in from the other side. A 4-3-1-2.
Not a big fan of that Diamond, to be honest. Like, Diamond is pretty good in going forward, in making attacks, just congesting the center of the pitch. But at the very same time, when you have wide players, the center of the pitch is something that you can take, but all the attacks are going to come from either of the wings. So that's a big downfall. And yeah, he is, I think, making some changes regarding that. The midfield is trying to be a bit more centralized now, and the attacking third will play a different role. So a lot more long passes may be the game plan from the Malaysian team, since they still want to play a narrow formation but with more strikers up front rather than midfielders.
And that centralized attack is going to be something that eventually Danial will have to worry about. If one header goes in on the other direction, that's going to be something stolen away, and Kante steals it all the way back in. Park Ji-sung moves it forward, back to Park Ji-sung, sends it ahead, and a lovely touch of the defender. Just pushes it towards the keeper and shuts down that attack, but it's still not over.
Oh man, a through ball. I was just waiting if the goalkeeper will come out to collect it or not, and looked like that Buffon was in confusion whether he should step out of his line, make a claim to it, just sit back and defend the header. Because this pass, just 1-2 and then CR7 just going inside, and Buffon, some misjudgment from our keeper. Malaysia, they get one back. We have to score more to be into the game.
Just one more to try and bring themselves back in this one, rightly mentioned. And we know what happened in the game against Vietnam yesterday. It was a 2-0 lead. And then everything started to go downhill. Danial right now, his defense has been broken multiple times, but guess what? His attack has been impeccable, but not quite there yet. Still right now, nice pass to Snyder. Romney is going to be trying to send it forward. Rodri, perfect interception on that one. Just a couple of extra passes out there on touch. Pele is going to move forward through that run though, but Saliba was easily able to steal this one away. Park Ji-sung pushing it forward towards Romney. Back to Park Ji-sung. We know what happened previously, but Hazard is there to try and collect it over towards the right wing. It's going to be sent back to Perlo. Pele collects it. Beats the defender. Oliveira is still trying to mark it though, and Saliba is always there blocking all the passing lanes of Danial.
Man, this guy, the man from Arsenal, he is giving the eTigers a real hard time. Every time we are on the run, every time we are trying to make the opening between the defenders, Saliba is there to make an interception. Last game, it was Cannavaro. This time, it is Saliba. All these legends are just giving the strikers no inch of space. But now, maybe it's time for some substitutions. And I just want to see Bebeto coming into the mix. Because that lad definitely has some long-range efforts going in. And yes, Bebeto will be the playmaker right now. Attacking midfielder from the left-hand side. DMF, again, Eduardo Camavinga. Romario is the one who stays. So no space for Lautaro as of now. Let's see if these changes will bring us some more goals.
Interesting to see that he's still keeping Romario in, right? Even though he's basically lost half of that stamina. On the other side of the spectrum, as you rightly mentioned, Bebeto now being brought in means a lot more shots from right outside of the box. As again, that's where maybe Danial can exploit the space since he's not really getting his last passes over through. The defense line is always stealing it. So maybe he's going to move the ball a little bit more around and then try and work in with one of those shots in. He's going to be playing an all-out attack out here right now. So again, the defense line is going to be playing in a bit too far forward. Mohamed Salah, one-touch pass all the way to Marcus Thuram. He sends it in. Romario takes it. Will be forwarding it to Bebeto. Is it going to go back to Romario? That was the question. Bebeto moves it in. Lobs it in as well. But the keeper punches it out and Gravenberch collecting it. But not for a long time. The possession is maintained by the other side. It's still going to be stolen away. Mohamed Salah not really catching it. And it is going to be taken by the other side. Lovely interception from Ruben Diaz all the way out in the midfield. Bebeto throws it. Romario collects it. Wants to take the shot near post. And a lovely follow through. It's the third one for the boys in blue. And that should solidify the victory.
Mo Salah just running down the wing. Getting inside at the very right opportunity. A rebound to be scored home. And he makes no mistake whatsoever. Good amount of chances created yet again from the eTigers, but it was just not clinical enough. So many knocks on the door, but the door was shut down on our faces. But this time, it was Mo Salah, completely unmarked, a rebound directly in his feet. Good finish between like so many of the defenders. But now, all in all, we just need to keep this lead for the next 15 minutes.
Just 15 minutes is all we need to make sure that they win this one. And yes, I agree. But the question is, we've known Danial, man. I know that he's not going to play defensive. I'm pretty sure he's still going to continue on attacking.
But the point is, you don't have to play defensive to keep the lead. You have to just keep possession. Don't go for the goals, just pass it around the wings and let the opponent press you. The more the opponent presses you, the more opportunities will arise for your strikers to make a run in between the lines. He has done it in the previous match where he just played some back passes with Patrick Vieira, then finds Romario and on the edge of the box, a finish opportunity arrived. Similar to that fashion, low risk, high reward could be the play now. Because by the look of the changes that Malaysian squad are bringing in, they are sending everybody up front. 2 centre forwards, 1 secondary striker, 1 attacking midfielder. 4 players just with the instructions of getting inside the box.
Here's the thing, right? But the problem is still going to be those wings. You've got no one to play on there. And until and unless your left back and right back are the ones who are playing attacking wing backs, it's not going to make any kind of difference. The ball will be stolen away out here in mid. It's going to be sent in forward, yes, but there was no one to collect it. Defenders always there. And now there's a possibility for a counter attack on the other side. Bebeto passing it all the way back though, but it will be stolen away by Ferdinand. And then pushing it forward. Marcus Thuram not really receiving it. Gravenberch still holding it. Now this attack seems to come to fruition out here. Position being kept and a lovely one touch through. But my, oh my. Had Buffon did the same things in the previous one, I'm pretty sure we would have not registered a loss there. But this man is saving every single one of them.
Wow. Just keeping us into the game. Perfectly diving on the weaker side. Near post. Always a tough one, but Buffon makes a big save, and now with the clock ticking down to 88th minute, it is just 2 plus stoppage time that remains, and Ryan making a greedy interception commits a foul in between, and now I think the game is done. Maximum 4 to 5 minutes overall is what remains, and with 2 goals advantage in our favor, it will be a back-to-back victory against the Malaysian team.
That's the kind of consistency you really need. Buffon is going to be passing it through. +5 additional time out here. That means one more attack is going to be made. And Mohamed Salah is the best one to try and go for it right now. A couple of passes. Open lanes out here. Goes in for the cutback. No, it is the lofted one. Very well collected by Gigi Buffon on the other side. As still the header will be stolen away. One last minute. One last chance. He tried to pass it in. But the whistle finally blows as the curtains fall on the Malaysian victories out here, as India will register the win here, 3-1.
Second game back to back, and we have defeated the Malaysian team, and nothing can get better than this. Yes, we had a hard loss against the Korean side, but it was one of those games where nothing is going in your favor. Hitting the crossbar, woodwork, interceptions, and everything just against you. But when the game was fair and square, when it was all about attacking football, there was no denying that Danial was the better player.
You can talk endlessly about how this man loves to attack, right? How he quickly adapts to the scenario. Yeah, he was not really able to lead the way in terms of how he normally would with the one-touch passes as all the lanes were being blocked. But then it's absolutely fine. He was able to move the ball around a little bit towards mid, create a lot more space. He let the opponent take the ball through and then instantly stole it away to send those counters in through as well. Created that pressure by that extra goal advantage. And in that pressure, you could clearly see that previously when the scoreline was 2-1, that was a moment when the diamond formation was still being forced out in the center. All three players in the midfield were still centralized out here. After that, you could clearly see a big gap out there in mid, and that was where Danial started to exploit it even more. That was supposed to be a constant pressure on Danial because, yeah, Malaysians wanted to move the ball around a little bit more towards the other side. It did not really happen. My man was ready with the counter.
Man, every time the Malaysians were trying something, Daniel had the answer to that. And the defending was so perfectly done. And at the same time,
Yes.
Gigi Buffon played his big role as well. But now, with the second victory against the Malaysian team, we are still on the table top. With that being said, we had just one draw and one loss till now against us, and our best of the matches have been finished. Because the rest of the teams, they are struggling to make it to the top 4. Yes, the top 4 is completely, I would say now, have been selected by now. It has, the scoreline has been
Except
there. Yeah, the 4th slot is kind of open, but the gap is too big for Hong Kong to even jump from that side. They have to win so many games, and the goal difference will come into play as well.
That's one of the big things out here. The only reason why I can see Hong Kong at that 4th spot is because Vietnam has not played its
Yes.
9th game out here. Hong Kong has played one additional game. But here's the thing. If it's a loss for Vietnam, then that means the scoreline will remain the same. And yes, you're bringing the goal difference into the topic or the conversation as well. If you really think about it, it still is favoring the members of Hong Kong. They're still going in on plus 15 out here. So if Vietnam loses this game, then the odds are going to dip even further in favor of Hong Kong. So that's going to be tricky. You know, it's going to be fun to see how things are going to go out here. But yeah, I mean, a lot of tough competitions by all of these teams if you think about it. Even if the 4th spot team yesterday was able to bring in a draw against India, then consider what the 2nd and 3rd are going to do. And we could clearly see against Malaysia, India had the dominating factor, but yeah, on the other side against Korea, they are ready with those counters. But if you're talking about some team that needs some counters, then that is going to be Guam, because this team has been on a hot streak of every single game not being converted. Their opponents have been having a nice time, and if we've been talking about goal difference, I'd not really want to mention what's happening with Guam right now.
That is so true. I'm not sure what is going on their side of things, but nothing looks like they are able to do anything on the eFootball pitch. If you look at the draft, a pretty standard one, a lot of legends of the game on their side. Cruyff, Figo, Puyol, Puskas, and then Cantona, Zico, Rijkaard. They have a lot of icons sitting on their side, but those icons are just not able to deliver. But that has been the case with Guam. Be it the console version, be it the mobile version, just not their game, I would suppose.
It's not really been, I would say, their past 2 days itself. I have no clue as to what the issues they are facing out here, but not even being able to score the goals is very concerning fact out here, because every other team is they're kind of dealing with Guam as a team where they can increase their goal difference. That's why we are still seeing those 29 goals, 24 goals being scored by Hong Kong's and the likes of Vietnam as well, even though when Korea Republic is still on a +7 right now. But that is the thing, ladies and gentlemen, which we'll be talking about in the latest segment out here. Right now, before this game of India and Guam, we're going to be heading on to a very short break. You guys don't go anywhere. We will be right back. With a quick turn of events, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again for the third game of the evening. The previous one was won by Danial yet again against the Malaysian lineup, showcasing his class and victory. But now it's time for him to show the same level of dominance, if not more, against the team that's still searching for the first victory in the eFootball regional qualifiers featuring mobile. Out here, it's India taking on Guam.
Guam being one of those sides who are definitely not having a memorable run at all. Could have been one of those seasons where nothing is going in their favor, despite the fact they have running a pretty good draft, but yeah, not a season they would like to remember for the future. But now India is already on a counter attack. CR7 finds the right left winger, or the Eden Hazard. Finesse has been blocked yet again. Eden Hazard, he's having a really hard time like breaking inside from the wing and taking some clean shots.
At this point, you know, I've been liking what he's been trying to do constantly with Eden Hazard. Yes, I know that he wasn't really that active in terms of scoring the goals, but he was making sure that he's sending in those passes so that Cristiano Ronaldo could actually score those goals. This time around, it's been a lot more activated in terms of shooting those shots as well. I do like this idea. Creates a lot more room right now. That's exactly what's created by Romario. As Cristiano Ronaldo, with that last pass coming in from his counterpart, was able to score in that first one in the 13th minute of the game. To be honest, that's still pretty slow. By the time we reached 15 minutes yesterday, we already had 2 scores.
That's kind of true. But at the same time, I don't think all these scorelines matter, at least for India right now. We have pretty good buffer as for the score points. And this match can be just one of those games where you just practice something different. And for Danial, there is nothing to worry about. He can score more goals if he wants. He can just play some possession football if he wants. Because the result of this match, other than a victory, nothing else matters.
It's the victory right now, which you've rightly mentioned. That's what we've been looking for constantly, to try and make sure. I believe after this victory, it's going to be solidified that we are 100% moving already into that playoffs itself. So I absolutely love it what Danial is doing all the way towards that right wing. You can see some emptiness out here. Romario is still going to send it to Cristiano Ronaldo. Sends the header, but doesn't really land always in out here. And it was a nice attempt again. Just held it down for a second, but absolutely no power and direction in that one. Wasn't going in by a mile.
CR7's headers today have been kind of off target, to be honest, and this is a rare sight from Danial. Like, he's not able to aim onto the target. Someone had the hit the woodwork twice and then missing off target. Ball just randomly bouncing here and there. But his through passes have been pretty much perfect. Romario on the edge of it. A finesse, but what a block. Could have been a perfect goal, but the centre back just putting his leg in between.
Let's just say that today hasn't really been the day where Danial scores the perfect goal. But one thing is for sure, that this defense right now that, let's just say, wasn't really tested yesterday, has been tested constantly today right now. Hazard sends it back in. Pirlo wanted to go for that confirmation. Blocked it at the very last second though, so it's still going to be a ball in the hands of Guam, but they haven't really been able to go in for any kind of attack.
But the thing is, teams have scored around 14 to 15 goals against Guam. Like, I think at the highest score I saw was 14-0 against them.
Yeah.
Teams have been banging 7-8 goals on a regular basis. Whereas for us, that big score margin, we are not able to convert that. And despite the fact it does not really matter for us, but at the same time, being clinical in front of goal is what we are still looking out for.
I understand that, you know, I absolutely agree as to where you're coming from, but to be honest, I just feel that Danial is just cutting them some slack at this point. He can keep on doing this on repeat, time after time, what he just did with Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think so Guam would still not be able to close out that game or even come close to scoring that goal. I think so he's just taking it a little bit more easy, smooth going. Maybe he's just trying a few new things in terms of his passing, just so it could eventually help him get more confidence in the next few games.
Could be the case. But again, the formation that Team India are running, it is not the most aggressive formations at the very same time. A 4-2-2, you have width, you have central presence, you have good defensive structure with the 2 DMs sitting deep. While there are other teams who are running triple striker formations. So that can be a big difference as well. That the teams are just looking out to score multiple goals, but when they come against us, a defensive structure, and they are having a hard time to break it down. So that can be a differentiating factor as well. But now, looking at the scoreline, already 2-0 up, 3 minutes for the first half. And now Perlo is looking to find CR7, and he will, who is just trying to find Perlo. Bagged a bit of twist and turn, but Frank Rijkaard just shoving off Perlo, winning the ball for Guam. And the first half ends 2-2.
The only highlight of this one was the fact that Guam was actually able to land in the first shot. Apart from that, there's been absolutely nothing. It's constantly been a Danial domination. And we seldom see this man struggling out there. So, yeah, it's not really the most fortunate matchup for Guam out. Maybe if they can perform pretty well against the top-seeded team out here, then their confidence could eventually be brought back in for the next few games, because that's another sweet pass out here to Martinez. Going to be sent back to Romario, and outside of the box, wanted to go for the finesse towards the right corner. Was eventually stopped in, and they should go for the off. Yeah, it's going outside.
A throw in there. Nico Williams. A long cross to Figo, but the interception will occur. Perlo, 1-2 passes, back to Pele. He's trying to find some long passes. Pretty lazy to drive and dribble around the area. But wins the ball immediately back with Ruben Diaz. Finds Eden Hazard. And just look at him. He's not dribbling at all. He's just playing 1-2 passes back and forth. And just scores like that.
Well. Exactly. The man doesn't care about dribbling at this point. He's just like, yeah, I'm just going to pass it, and that is the kind of dribbling that I want to do. Instantly goes in for the third one. Last time the scoreline was 4-0. Correct me if I'm wrong, Spartus out here. And I think so this time as well we're going to see something similar.
I think yes. Something. Yeah, a 4-0 was the win against Guam. Maybe we are trying to increase it a bit. We are already 3-0 up. Trying to score some more goals, and we have ample of time remaining for that. Maybe somewhat around 6 goals in this game is what I want from Danial. Let's see if he's able to deliver that.
Hey man, I mean, I absolutely understand the domination you want to see, but cut some slack to Guam out here. That's a lovely tackle at the very last second to steal the ball away, and I have no clue how that would work. The physics just does not make sense out here.
Again, but Eden Hazard, he's running down the win, full speed, has to be a pin. Has to be a pin. Yeah, you have to give it. CR7 should be on the ball, or maybe Romario.
That's the kind of frustrated tackles that I normally give. Lucky that. Was that a yellow? Was that a red? That's the big question out here. Because this was definitely going in over towards the top right corner. Lovely positioning. And Perlo scoring in perfectly as well. And on the back of it now, we've got that lead back in our own favour. We always had the lead, but I just wanted to say the scoreline that we had yesterday against this team.
Oh man. At this point, even I don't think Guam knows what they are doing or what is happening with them. I think it is still 63rd minute, yes, 60-minute marker, 4-0 up, and just look at that pass. Straight to Lautaro Martinez, like a gift already present to him. And now a lob pass should be perfectly weighed. Cross, inside. 5-0.
Alright, already better than what we were able to bring in yesterday. It's only just one unfortunate start against Korea. Apart from that, everything that's been happening has been pretty well orchestrated by Danial out here. No problem in scoring this one as well. You wanted to see a 6-0 scoreline, my man. I think so. We are about to be delighted with not just a 6-0, maybe a 7-0.
Possible. That is a big possibility now. Since in the first half, we didn't have a lot of goals, but in the second half, we are just thriving forward. Crosses, interceptions, everything is working perfectly well. And now again, the 16-minute substitution. He has made it a rule. 60 to 65 minutes, just queue a pause and change the players. No more taking time until the 70th minute where you kind of become ambitious to just throw the ball out so that you can cue a pause.
Yeah, that's... And specifically in a very tight-knit game which is going back and forth, you can't really give that kind of thing away as well, right? Because it becomes even more difficult to steal the ball away out here right now. Martinez is going to make that run though, but still, Van de Ven will be able to steal that one. Back, Nico Williams, no chance of making this run. Sends it all the way back. I'm absolutely not sure what Guam wanted to do there, but yeah, it's going... Oh, huh? Hello? What?
I'm telling you that
from Martinez.
Players are like, yeah, let the ball go out. I'm not chasing it right now. It's a comfortable win already for us. Some laziness from the players as well at this point. But not from Thuram. A strike to the top left. A bullet of a shot. No player is coming in between that. And Marcus Thuram makes it 6-0. And it is still just 73 minutes.
My man is farming some stats out here, Marcus Thuram. Lovely strike coming in from him. Martinez was like, yeah, I'm just tired. Yes, I know I've been subbed in, but I'm not running for that one. And meanwhile, Thuram was like, just give me the ball.
He's like, yeah, you don't need to run if you can strike it with enough power. It's just perfect.
Exactly. It reminds me of Blue Lock out here.
Yeah.
It's fine. I know you've got absolutely no clue about that.
I know what it is. It's the one of the finest football ones. I think we all have been there, so.
Absolutely. Out here though, again, just a change out here. Eduardo Camavinga is going to be moved back in. Oh, hold on. I believe that's a different player though. It's not Camavinga this time.
I really want to have a look, like who has been subbed in, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, that was not Camavinga though. Thuram and then Bebeto on the wings.
It's Jones.
Curtis Jones.
For PL.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Wow!
Holy smokes! Oh my goodness, Danial! He's just farming clips in this game now.
Well, I think there's a competition going on between Thuram and Lautaro at this point. Like who can strike the more with more venomous power. Because just look at this strike. It is at least 30 meters out and then dribbles, takes 2 touches.
Wow.
Power shot, top net. Nobody's coming in between that.
Show me the face of Danial at this point. I want to see what was his reaction after this one went through. Absolutely insane. That's why you don't give him space at all out here. And it's still the 78th minute mark. We haven't even reached the 80th minute right now. Everything that I was about to say that maybe Guam is learning, it's been going down in drain.
Mo Salah keeps the ball in, trying to find a pass, but Nico Williams just pressing him down, wins the ball back. But Mo Salah is pretty hard working on the pitch, just chasing all around the park, forces an interception. Back to Thuram, who finds Bebeto. He has a perfect opportunity for a pass to Lautaro Martinez, back inside, and Curtis Jones for an easy goal tap in. 8-0 for the eTigers.
I was never really anticipating an 8-0 out here. I thought maybe till 7, yes, that kind of makes sense. But apart from that, yeah, I did not imagine this one. It is just next level destruction. It seems like that he kind of wants to join in that 20 goal differential club right now. He wants to create one of his own.
I think that is required, I believe. Because those stats are like statements when somebody look at the groups. It's like, yeah, you are the table topper, but the goal difference is not that big enough, so games must be close. But then, if you look at the result, majority of the teams have been thrashed by Danial, but they have a big goal difference because they had huge score lines against Guam. So, a pretty different stat. And Danial is making sure that he makes the scoreline even bigger, and he will. A rebound for Thuram, straight to the keeper's face, and a venomous power from Thuram. A brace to his name, 9-0 in the 90th minute. A perfect storyline.
At this point, it just seems like Guam have been... I don't know, man. At 6 minutes, can we reach double-digit goal? That's the main question right now. Can actually Danial go for the 10th one? Because with the way how he's constantly been shooting out here, everything's been working out for this man. Schmeichel just not able to keep it out. Touches him and eventually moves in. And look at these kinds of passes, man. With the way how he's been creating those spaces, that's been absolutely fantastic. Just destroying Guam right before he even decides to move towards center. It's going to be passed all the way back towards Hakimi one more time. Seems like a set start that Guam normally goes for. Johan Cruyff wanted to go for the pass. Doesn't matter. Bebito back to Jones. It's going to send back and further through. Lovely. That's the 10th one. It's in the double digits now. And Danial joins in the club of the teams who have scored in double digits against Guam. And it's Mohamed Salah for the first one. And I haven't seen him score a hell lot today, and this is definitely a beauty.
Mo Salah has maybe like 2 or 3 goals overall in the group stages, I believe. And
For him,
he's not required to score much because by the time he's subbed in, the game is already won. And now it's like he's more of a player that you need to give him the ball to score because he's not making enough runs. He's just playing down the wing, being the supplier rather than the scorer. And finally, he gets the opportunity to be on the score sheet as well. 10-0, a perfect way to get a scoreline against Guam. A hefty scoreline for the goal differential. A big amount of goals for in the stat sheet. And by the look of things, the scoreline will remain the same because barely 30 seconds is what remains.
It's going to fly off instantly, but unless you're going to send it through all the way back again. Yes, it's Mohamed Salah lofted. Bebito almost taking this one away, but thanks to that clearance, the lead will not increase any further than it already has. 10-0. India utterly destroying Guam. 16 freaking shots out of that 15 on target. My god, they're lucky it's still 10.
And the fact that the possession was still just 52%. So I'm not sure whether shots are coming from with just 52% of the possession, like equally sharing the minutes on the ball, but scoring in that minutes is what was important. 10-0, a perfect scoreline. I just want to have a look at the group at this point. How big of a margin have you already created against the competitors for the top spot?
Here's the thing. I'll tell you the absolute big reason of why the possession was not that high, because there were 10 goals scored. So obviously you would see Guam take the possession again, and then they'd keep it for the next couple of minutes by passing it to Hakimi and then trying to pass it around in mid, which would be stolen away instantly into an attack, into a score, back to possession for Guam. That is the only reason why they had possession. Otherwise, if you really think about it, if you talk about how much India was able to control the pace of the game versus what Guam was able to do, it's going to be miles apart. And this is one of the big reasons why we were talking about the fact, or rather you yourself mentioned, that India needs to score a lot in this one. You need to showcase the dominance that you had in the entirety of the group stages. And that's exactly what we were seeing. But this is the main matchup. This was the nemesis of India yesterday. Wouldn't exactly say the nemesis though, but at least an arch rival. 2-0 or rather 2-2 was the scoreline for both of these teams. And India, the only other team who's gone toe-to-toe against them has been Vietnam. So it's going to be a fun matchup to see.
For sure. And if you look at have a look at their draft at this point, Vietnam is running against a wider formation and they were able to find success with it. Like they have Nedved, Liao, Vitinha, Son, Scholes, on everyone just perfect for the attacking third. Then on the key players, complete defensive line. Patrick Vieira, Nesta and Van Dijk. And we have seen Nesta and Van Dijk's partnership at the back. It was crazy to deal with. Whatever passes they were trying, everything was getting blocked.
It's basically more about how well you can create those counter setups by stealing the ball away from the enemy attacking lineups, right? That's been the play style of Vietnam. And this super defensive set of key players, they showcase you the exact same thing. And then you've got Son. We know how problematic he was yesterday. If I'm not wrong, both the goals were scored by him, or at least there was a participation of this man. But we'll talk about that in a second, as again, it's going to be a congratulations to India as they qualify already with 22 points. No one close to them with only 9 matches played out here. 7-1-1 is the record. 37 goals scored, only 10 conceded, 27 with their goal difference. Highest in every single factor.
And this is what was required. Earlier from this game, it was 27-10 and then it is 37-10. A goal differential of plus 27, that is huge. Anything with 3 to 4 goals would not matter much as for the qualification. But when you look at the overall group and then you see a team with 27 GD, you are like, man, this is a team you have to be very careful with.
But here's the thing, when you look at the bottom of this entire leaderboard, you see a team that has conceded 70 goals in 10 games. That's 7.3 goals conceded in every single one of them. That's absolutely mind-blowing. And yeah, I don't mean it in a good sense. So there's some troubles out here for Guam side, but this game is super important for Vietnam. They're barely managing to keep their boat afloat, but will it stay up or will it sink? We'll find that out, people, after this short break. Oh my, this is such a fiery startup already coming in. India in the blue yet here again, ladies and gentlemen, as you're watching the FIFA e-regional qualifiers for eFootball featuring mobile. Eden Hazard starting things off with the first shot out here. Danial, he wants a fiery beginning for this game.
Oh man, could have been the first goal as well within like 5 minutes, I suppose, because it was a fiery start to the kickoff. And now, with a corner, I just want to Perlo to maybe take a shot, give it to someone else, because the header game is not going strong. And yes, that's the call. Stanisic takes a driven shot, and oh my goodness, such beautiful sequences there, and Stanisic almost getting that opener. But nah, man. Now Vietnam onto the counter, and we need to stop that out, and
Lovely.
we surely will.
Keeping Rodri a little bit behind out there from the curve, making sure that those runs cannot be made out here. Hazard wanted to do the same thing on the other side, but Virgil van Dijk, this man is not going to let you make these runs so easily. You've got to beat him in order to get a chance at scoring. And then you've got keeper like that. Yeah, good luck trying to go for it. Rafael Leao right now moving in center. He's got the pace to work with, but does he have that mobility with the ball itself? That's the big question out here. Still, it's going to be held in. Saleh all the way in the corner. Header in, but it's going to be going outside. Son almost opening things up for Vietnam, just like he did yesterday. But seems like fortune ain't on this side yet.
Man, this was so close for comfort. Vietnam, they are looking ruthless on the attack yet again, and no surprises from their end. This is how they played yesterday, and this is how they are bringing on the action today as well. Let's see how much Danial has improved from yesterday's game against them. Since the type of attack that Vietnam is building, it is looking like a 4-4-2 formation. Double strikers with Son and Nedved, if I suppose. Yeah, Liao is the secondary striker. And then they are just pressing him high as well. Nedved on the right wing, finding Eden Hazard from Team India. Back to Romario, driving inside. Perlo, he's not able to find Romario though. First touch pass could have been made, but an interception has been done now, and Song Yun Min find Paul Scholes.
There's an opportunity out here. Son is going to send it back, but Perlo was there to steal it away right now. A couple of attackers out here. Ronaldo is going to send it to Perlo. The run was not really left through properly, but there's an opening out here in mid. Opened up space. Oh my goodness, that's such a very well kept defense out here. Patrick Vieira is just going to make sure that he man marks Perlo out, but it's going to be sent back in. Pass cancel. Perfect, but Nedved making sure that it cannot be sent through, back in, sent out here right now. Son is going to bring it back though. A tackle from Vitinha. Doesn't matter. It's still kept in by Danial. He will move it around up forward towards Hazard. Back and forth. Romario back to Perlo. Left wing out here. Sent back. Hazard still going to move it around. And finally, the pace dies down.
Man, it was a good counter, but the passing lanes were blocked really fast on the Vietnamese side. But now, CR7 finds Pele across. Should be on its way. It will be. And Romario almost getting the scoreline on its way. End-to-end action throughout, and I'm loving the way Danial is playing. He is keeping possession. He's trying to just delay some passes. He's trying to bait on the defenders. But something he was trying with the short corner didn't work out. Although, a good read from Stanisic wins the ball back to Rodri. Find Eden Hazard in the process.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. Waited for a second out here for Romario to create the space. Another header. And this time, Ronaldo will score. This time, CR7 will run back for Sui. He will make sure that the ball is found in the back of the net. Finally, that opener which Danial was looking for such a long time. And what a lovely way to open things up again. Going in for his own classic play. Sends it to Romario. And he sets things up for a perfect header for Ronaldo.
I think there is some different type of love story going on between CR7 and the crossbar. Because just look at this. Even with the completely open net, he still manages to hit the crossbar. This time, crossbar in has been the case, but man, oh man. Out of the 4 or 5 headers CR7 has attempted, each and every one has hit the woodwork at least thrice.
Yeah.
And this is, I would say, a fortunate one this time around, since this one went inside the box.
The thing is, he's only had 3 attempts till now. Like a proper attempt if you think about it, where he actually got the ball onto his head and he was able to shoot it. So yeah, every single time he's been hitting that crossbar. Had this man been doing the crossbar challenge, I'm pretty sure he would have won it 3 times in a row. But on the other side, last time it was a 2-0 lead in favor of India. This time around, Vietnam, they've got a good chance to try and steal this one away. It's only a 1-0, and there's a possibility for them to score the goal as well. Through eventually was taken in. Patrick Vieira. For a second, I missed out the ball out there where it went. Another through on the other side. Cristiano Ronaldo sends it back to Romario. The back and forth passing from these players have been impeccable right now. It's going to be sent back into Pele, but will be called for an offside.
Good run of play, good pass cancel, and then trying to just time it perfectly with Pele's running on the shoulder of that last centre back. But just not perfect this time around. CR7, he gets the ball back from Pele. And now we will get back to the possession game. Nedved, Hazard heading down, back to Hazard. Romario, he's open inside the box, but Virgil van Dijk tries to intercept it, but Romario still finds the ball, sends it inside the net. 2-0 for India. Romario and CR7 both take 1 goal each. And today, Nesta and VVD, they are just spectators of the game.
How did he even receive the pass there? That's the big thing. Oh my goodness. It went in so fast. There we go. We're going to have a look at it one more time. The pass sent in forward. My man was so far ahead, and Virgil van Dijk kind of missed it from that angle, if I'm not wrong. It went in through, but in between his legs maybe, or he was just a half a second late in moving back. A very well-timed pass again, and a fantastic finish coming in. So yeah, it's still a 2-0. But guess what, Spartus? This game is more important to the side of Vietnam than it is to India.
That is so true, since the qualification is what matters the most right now. And Vietnam, they are just barely breathing on that 4th and 5th spot. These game results will be a lot more crucial because as things stands, Vietnam is on the 5th spot. And I think Hong Kong has taken over them with a 2-goal differential as well. And with this loss, the differential will increase more as well as the points will go down. So Vietnam, they need to make sure that a result goes in their favor. But with the way Danial is playing, it looks like that Vietnam may just fall out of the tournament.
Very well seems to be the case out here right now. Hazard's going to be sending it all the way back in. You could clearly see a bit of back passing coming in from our boy Danial here. Sends it back into center. Martinez got some opening though, but is still going to be sending it back in to create some more space for work with. Guess what? He's got exactly that, but a very well defended play coming in. Virgil van Dijk will send it for the clear. Only for it to fall back in again. Perlo is going to move it forward. Pele doesn't go for through. Wanted to go for the shot. Ambitious, but ambitions are what you need to make sure they come true.
Oh, another good pass from Perlo though. Little bit of power was missing on that, but yeah, he's just trying something from the middle of the pitch. And now interception. Van de Ven, he is so ever present on the left wing. The left back is doing its duty perfectly, and now Romario's chance to do diligence and driving inside, but still a block. Virgil van Dijk, the last centre back to make the block happen, and he will make sure that the scoreline remains the same. But now CR7 back to Romario, a long range finish this time again on the woodwork. eTigers and the woodwork have been a pretty crazy storyline for the day.
Not quite sure if you'd call it a love story. I'm pretty sure it's a toxic situationship. And guess what? Now you've got to fill up those spaces, the loopholes in your defense. But a quick work by Danial to fill that one up. A counter attack on the other side. Perlo is going to send it to Pele. Stamina not that high. Doesn't matter. It's enough for that pass. It's going to send it one more though. Last touch tackle. Perfect for Vietnam. But this victory ain't falling in their hands whatsoever. Unless this one goes through. In the next 1 minute, it needs to go in the back of the net. And guess what? It's just fell outside. And this will be a goal kick for Gigi Buffon. And that will mark the end as well for the Vietnamese run. While India will be able to take that revenge.
A very well played game yet again. 2-0 this time. Last chance attempt will get saved as well, so nothing going in Vietnam's favor. Yesterday the scoreline was 2-2. Vietnam, although they were trailing for the entirety of the game, they were able to make a comeback happen, but not today, man. Today just was not the case. Since Danial and the strong line on the backside, the defense from Van de Ven, the defense from Gigi Buffon, everything was synchronized perfectly. Another victory for Danial this time around, and with that, Vietnam is currently barely breathing on the 4th and 5th spot.
It's just going to be very neck and neck competition between Vietnam and Hong Kong out here, right? You know, it's super fun to finally witness so much calm and controlled play coming in from Danial. Regardless of what happened yesterday, regardless of what happened today in the first game, he was absolutely ready. It's totally cool. He was like, yeah, it's fine. I can just brush it off easily. I can move forward in this one. And with the way how he played against Vietnam, perfectly controlling the ball, not really going in for some eager shots outside of the box, but rather passing it through, keeping it till the last second, and then finding those right angles. That's what was eventually needed, and he kept on that pressure. Doesn't matter if it was a 2-0 goal lead, he kept on attacking, and that was the big reason why we could see him closing that one game out. But guess what? That's not just the only game happening out there. We've got two more, and one of them is going to be with Hong Kong.
Man, this will be a crazy match as well. Hong Kong, they might be praying now that the result that happened against Vietnam should not be repeated against them. Since if the scoreline is narrow, or if we win against Hong Kong with a bigger margin, the overall standings will definitely shuffle up. Because the overall standings in the group are really very close when it comes down to the 3rd, 4th spot, as well as the 5th spot as of now. Because it's just only India and Malaysia who are in a comfortable area. Other than that, the 2 slots of the playoffs are completely wide open.
That's the big thing which you mentioned, right? Those 2 slots being open is where most of the teams will go in for those contests. So it still comes down to what's going to happen between the 3rd, 4th and 5th placing team. I don't quite know if 6th one is still in the run out here. I think so they're going to be kept out until and unless both 4th and 5th placing teams are losing consistently and then New Zealand finally finds a win. Which does seem difficult because their last game is going to be against India. So I don't think so that gap can be bridged in. But yes, Korea Republic, I think so most of their tough matches are over as well. So I don't see any major difficulties which they will face. But 3 games remaining for both Korea and Vietnam as well as Hong Kong. That's going to be something that they'd be looking forward to. Right now we have to look forward to the key players coming in for the side of Hong Kong. Kylian Mbappe, Virgil van Dijk and obviously Ruud Gullit.
And Gullit is the one that he is playing as a striker. In a 4-4-2 setup, Gullit is the one up front with, I guess it was Julian Alvarez
Mbappe
alongside him. Or maybe, yeah, Mbappe to start things off. A 4-4-2 setup. So we know what Hong Kong is capable of. But as for the results, it has been our game. 4-1 with the scoreline yesterday in Danial's favour. And I'm guessing similar can be repeated today as well.
Highly possible. I don't even doubt it at this point. The only tough games were, again, Korea Republic and Malaysia. Apart from that, yes, Vietnam, it was something to, I wouldn't exactly say worry about, but something to keep into consideration. So after handling all of that, it was pretty easy for the man to finally close everything out. As we have a look at the final rankings, or rather the updated standings one more time. 10 games being played for Malaysia, New Zealand and Guam. Still not out here in a comfort zone for New Zealand or Guam. Either one of them. Malaysia sitting at the 2nd spot. Happy and dandy out here. We'll find out what happens in the game of Hong Kong versus India after the short break. Don't go anywhere.
And okay, so we are back into the action for the FIFA E-World Cup regional qualifiers featuring eFootball Mobile. And now it was our most awaited game for the day, where we have to face Hong Kong. And by look of things, Hong Kongs are in a condition where they cannot afford a loss, cause the 4th and 5th spot is completely wide open. And now with Team India starting things off in perfect style, 5 minutes into the game, already a nutmeg goal scored, and Hong Kong have started the game where they don't even want to think about. Well, one of the finest shot, I would say, because the through ball was so perfectly weighed. There was no defender coming in between, and then Ruud Gullit is definitely not missing from there. And the power on the strike, and more than the strike, it was this through pass from Kylian Mbappe. Just look at that beauty. Perfectly timed for the run, for the pass. Completely open one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And now, with the score being tied up, the thing is, now Team India does not have much to lose in this match. Neither we have much to gain. But for the Hong Kong side, they definitely have to win the game, because their last match was not a good one. They are 2 points ahead of China at this, or rather 2 points ahead of Vietnam at this point. And with 2 games remaining, every win matters for them.
Rightly mentioned, for India it's not going to be a big thing, but the main fact out here right now is that this is an important game for Hong Kong, which you rightly mentioned, but for Danial as well, because let's be honest, this man doesn't want to end up the group stages on a loss. He would really want to end it on a very solid win streak. And today, after that first Korean loss, this man has been on a hot streak.
That is so true.
If that happens, yeah, it's going to give him a lot of confidence for the knockouts.
And that what matters the most, since the road to Riyadh, you have to win 2 matches in the playoffs. So that is something you need to keep in mind, and that will be a cross-group matchup between Group A and B, and it will be against the different teams as well. So we have to keep that in mind. It's more about the preparation for the playoffs from here on, since Thailand and Indonesia, they have been our arch rivals in every esports game that we have played. So matching up against them is very likely, since they are also in the hotshot form in their group. But as of now, Team India trying to strike the ball home, but not able to get it past the goalkeeper.
Bit of an ambitious one. It was a challenge shot, so wasn't really empty entirely. It's going to be Hazard passing it towards Patrick Vieira. Pirlo wanted to send it back in the center where Pele was empty. Had that pass gone through, this definitely would have been a shot that would have been converted. So Hong Kong still defending this game, which is equalized 1-1. Pirlo, oh my god, lovely pass by Pele into the legs of Cristiano Ronaldo. And that's going to be the time when India breaks through this deadlock and gets a goal lead again.
One more strike from CR7, another goal from him. And look at the passes, but at the same time, Hong Kong look desperate for the possession. The passes are perfectly stringing out, but just look at the centre back, just keep on pressing the strikers, and if you press that high up the pitch, if you try to just nudge the striker off the ball, you are creating a lot of space, and CR7 just standing wide open, completely unmarked, VVD nowhere inside, and the goalkeeper Schmeichel had no opportunities to even save that. 2-1, we lead again.
Now again the pressure is back onto the members of Hong Kong. Not just in a difficult position, but in a treacherous position. Can't really afford to be down in this game. They have to get a draw. But guess what? If this is the kind of right defending the man is going to pull, yeah, you can even just hope for a draw. That's not really happening. A man out in the center. This could be the cutback. Oh, he wanted to send it. Pirlo catches it. If I'm not wrong, this definitely was reflection coming in. It's going to be a header for Cristiano Ronaldo, and he missed it by a mile. 40 plus 3 minutes added onto the extra time mark out here. Romario has got the ball. You need to move it up front, otherwise the whistle will be blown. And guess what? That clear will make sure that it does.
A good attempt at the end as well. Pirlo almost trying to be on the rebound from the defender. He's trying to get another pass back in, but the defensive line have been pretty strong. Declan Rice making the interception yet again. But now, with we still leading the scoreline 2-1, the situation of Hong Kong is kind of worsening out. Since I just want to have a look at what is going on in the Vietnamese game as well. Since Vietnam are taking on Korea Republic, another difficult matchup for them. And as for the qualification, only one of the teams from Hong Kong and Vietnam have the chance to qualify ahead.
One of these two. And this result is going to definitely seal the deal for one, probably. And our boy, our Tiger, he doesn't really want to give him any edge on the other side whatsoever. There was an opening out here on the right wing, but decided to send it towards Pirlo. It's going to be stopped in. Lovely. Kept in by Kylian Mbappe. Not really for long. Instantly tackled away and stolen. Nice one coming in. Lovely turn over towards the right side as Pirlo. He finds an opening. The shot could be sent in through. We've seen him do this today a couple of times. Kept the ball for a second extra so that Vieira could eventually catch that one. Will be sent all the way back in the 1-2 passes coming in through. Yet again, Romario wanted to make it a fast pass again to Cristiano Ronaldo. But stolen away on the other side, and now there's an opportunity for a counter.
Not so soon. The centre backs and the DMs completely tracking back the attacker side. Although Pirlo loses the ball back to Declan Rice, and now Rodri, man marking the player Kylian Mbappe, trying to make a run. Stanisic will just intercept the ball. A heel flick back to Rodri, back to Pele, and to now Pirlo. One touch passes are flying forward. CR7 find the winger Pele again, and now it's time for Romario to strike inside the box, just dribbling, go back to Pele, find some space, dribbling outside the ball on the 6-yard area, but Declan Rice yet again. Good interception.
Beautiful one. Oh, what a through to Ruud Gullit. The tackle is there at the very last second. My goodness, Daniel. He was just able to get this one at the last inch. Picture perfect play coming in, but though not enough yet. Still Hong Kong. Oh, that's an absolute throw of a pass out here. Pirlo's got a lot of space to work with. An extra touch though. Lovely block from the defender. He took his sweet time out here, and Hong Kong read exactly what he wanted to do, but still could not clear it far away. It's going to be Pele who's controlling it. All the players up ahead, losing the stamina. The same problem that they encountered. What a pass. Nutmeg right into the feet of the attacker, but it still does not go in. And you could see the disappointment on the face of Cristiano Ronaldo. What a phenomenal pass was that.
Not making a defender. A perfect strike was there as well, but how beautiful save indeed. A heroic Superman save coming into the play. But now, as rightly said, he has been taking care of the substitutes from yesterday, and this time around it is no difference as well. Bringing in Bebeto, Camavinga, Lautaro, everybody remaining the same. He just knows like when to bring on a substitute, and he is making him in a defensive role. So this is an interesting one.
I kind of like it, because if you see the stamina on the second defensive midfielder, you could see that it's actually pretty low, not really the highest out there. So it will impact the performance of that player. So he's making sure that since there's also the 1-goal lead for him, and constantly you're seeing those counter attacks coming in from the side of Hong Kong, he wants just an extra man onto that defensive line so that he can cut off any kind of through passes that Hong Kong has been dealing with. I like the idea of what he's going through.
A really good one. He knows what he needs to do at this point. The attacking opportunities will arise only if your defense is compact, and that is what Danial is trying right now. Number of changes have been made, 5 substitutions all at the same time. The passes will come to an end, or the pause will come to an end now. And let's see how the corner routine looks like from here on. Since there are no tall players up ahead, I'm expecting a short corner from him.
And possibly going for that short one. It's not the first time that we've seen short corners from him. On the other side as well, some substitutes. Burale is going to be brought in. Onana coming in as well. Declan Rice goes out. Nakamura Shinsuke is going to be bringing in as well. All the substitutes coming in. So now it's going to be an all-out attack from the other side. Ruud Gullit still controlling. Sending it through in, but absolutely no one to collect it apart from Buffon. So that's going to be again perfect for Danial. He's just going to make sure that he rotates the ball around. Not going to give an opportunity for the man in red to try and steal it away. He's constantly finding those players with the empty passing through lanes. And then he's just going in for that. But Nakamura Shinsuke was able to steal it away on the other side. Gullit almost trying to make that one possibility happen. But Hong Kong could not win out this one game. Only one shot which was on target, converted into a goal. And apart from that, absolutely nothing. And India continue their domination streak. This time, not so comfortably, but still did the job.
A win is a win, whether it is by an inch or by a mile. That is what is the motto. We just need to secure those wins. 2-1 is the overall scoreline, and we have just been very, very comfortable. Not clinical enough, but the chances were definitely coming in and out. But on the side of Hong Kong, this game lost means 3 points being dropped. The Vietnam side, they also lost points against Team India. Hong Kong had a very similar fate. But now, when the competition is between Vietnam and Hong Kong, I just want to see the overall standings between those teams. And Vietnam against Korea Republic, they secured a 3-0 victory. So Vietnam winning their game, Hong Kong losing out their game. So it looks like that Hong Kong's journey is coming to a close in the Group B.
It's going to fall down to that one last game. If Vietnam wins it, then they will have a comfortable win out there. If it doesn't go in their favor, that's going to be the main thing which opens up the Pandora's box out here. Yes, you have the goal difference that is currently favoring the players of Hong Kong by 1. But on the other side of the spectrum, the big thing is what's happened in the head-to-head of both of these teams, because that is the main criteria after a draw in terms of those points. So that's going to be my main question.
Wow, that makes up a lot more possibilities for who is going to qualify from here on. But as for us, we have already been qualified, and as the table toppers, it is our last match against Team New Zealand now. And for New Zealand, they don't have anything to lose from here. It will be a YOLO game from their side. They have put up a good show, they have put up a good competition, but unfortunately they will finish on the 6th spot, nothing higher, nothing lower. But the match against us will definitely be a very big learning lesson for them.
Absolutely. Even yesterday as well, if you really think about it, till the starting few minutes, New Zealand was actually doing a pretty decent job with their lineup. Pele, Ronaldo, Araujo, and then bringing in Gattuso, Ronaldinho as well. I think so. There could have been more possibilities of utilizing Ronaldinho properly. I don't think we saw that card being used up to its fullest potential. But apart from that, again, Roberto Carlos running in all the way towards that left back to till the left wing, playing in for the wing back position out there. I think so. That was a good idea. You've got Neymar as well. You had Carvajal and all of that mixture. Kamavinga being brought in for that mid. There is a lot of chances for New Zealand to make things happen. It only falls down to how well you utilize these players.
Oh, that is true. But that will be the last match for our group stages as of now. Because as per the standings, 11 matches played by almost every team. Guam's games have been finished up with a pretty hefty margin. Minus 84 on the goal differential. Man, almost missing a century there. Playing a different sport altogether. But as for India...
you don't need to pull shots on my boys like that, my man.
That is humongous. Like 84 goals conceded in a tournament. Like on a deficit, it is big. But overall standings, Team India leading the charts, 28 points for us. Malaysia just back by 6 points, 22 points for them. Korea on 18, Vietnam on 17, and then Hong Kong on 16 points. One last match for both these nations. The results will be so much interesting, like who qualifies for the 4th spot, because the playoffs will definitely be a place where both the teams, Vietnam and Hong Kong, wants to be a part of, but only one can make it through.
one of the big things that I noticed is that Hong Kong and Vietnam have been going one each against each other. On day number 1 of the regional qualifiers, it was Vietnam with a 2-1 victory. And then on the day 2, it was Hong Kong with a 2-1 victory. So, I mean, you consider the head-to-head, it's still dead even. So I'm absolutely not sure which one of these two teams will qualify if Vietnam loses and Hong Kong wins. But that's again a big if coming in, because the next game of Vietnam is against Malaysia and Hong Kong will be facing Korea Republic. So it's not easy games for them whatsoever. It's literally the second and third placing team in the overall standings out here right now. So that's a lot of problems coming in for the middle pack, specifically for the 4th and 5th placing teams. And let's be honest, if things don't really go well for Korea, Vietnam wins against Malaysia, and then Hong Kong wins against their opponents, then Korea Republic will be the team that will be brought all the way down to the 5th space. So it's important for them as well to at least get a draw against Hong Kong.
Wow, a lot of permutations, combinations going on, I must say. But hey, it will be a banger of a match. But for us, India versus New Zealand will be the last game. How will we perform? How much goals will Danial score? We'll find all that out right after a very short break. So we are back again into the action, a bit more delayed from here, but we move on since this is the last matchup for the day and for the group stages as well. 30 minutes into the game and no team is able to score the first one, and it's a big surprise keeping in mind that Danial generally takes, I think, 15 minutes on an average to find the opening.
Well, let's just say that average has increased today, because considering how the first match went against Korea, it's kind of fair. It's absolutely fair. We can cut our lad some slack out here.
Yeah.
But on the other end of the spectrum as well, we're constantly seeing him go for that pressure, go for those counter attacks as well against Kiwi right now in the white kit. And we've got, oh, lovely through, fantastic, an extra touch out there on Perlo. I thought he's going to take the shot a little bit earlier. Still got another chance, moves in up too close, sends in for a cutback, and lovely. Gattuso was there to try and steal it away, and hold on a second, but I'm not quite sure as to what really the Kiwis wanted to do, but it's absolutely fine. Still going to go for a goal kick.
But at this point, the thing is, I think this will be the first goalless first half that we have seen in the entirety of 11 matches. That's a big surprise and a big achievement, I would say, for the New Zealand side. Because keeping Danial shut down for a big 45 minutes is a huge feat in itself.
I never expected that to happen, let's be honest. And there's a new thing that actually he's trying. You can look at the position of Pele, right? Normally he was playing over towards the right mid, running in towards the right wing entirely. But this time he's been brought into the position of an attacking midfielder, more like a central attacking midfielder, right? The cam position which you talk about. So it's a bit more centralized coming in from Danial. I can see him testing something out, Spardas. I think so. That's a new question that we can add for an interview.
I'm not sure. Like, I still believe it is the same thing that he's running with a 4-2-2. Although the players have kind of swapped positions. Lautaro is already in. But now, Perlo finds Eden Hazard. Throws to Lautaro. Back to Pele.
Lovely through.
Nah, a bit more delayed. Pele was just not able to find the footing. The more you delay, the more interception will occur. But New Zealand, they are marking straight ahead. And now Ronaldinho is on a break. But Ruben Diaz, he's way stronger than him.
Perfectly played out here in the defense for Danial. Was able to instantly steal it all away. But I'd have to say, these passes have been looking a little bit lackluster out here. Haven't really been able to complete all of those, taking an extra few seconds to go in for the shots and passes where things could be a little bit more different. I still feel that Danial is kind of trying something new. You just have to figure out what that is. On the other side of the spectrum, it's going to be a back and forth. Perlo sent all the way back. Eden Hazard is going to carry it a bit forward. Doesn't really have any kind of stamina, and neither does Ronaldo, so it's not really going in anywhere. The question is it a corner or will it be a goal kick? It's a corner.
And now, Perlo. We have not been successful in our corners lately, but let's see if we can actually score here, since 66 minutes already on the clock and no goal have been scored. This match looks like a first goalless draw till now.
I'm pretty sure you've right now jinxed it. So we're going to see the first one coming in from Danial pretty soon, if not from the Kiwis. On the other side, Pele doesn't really have a lot of stamina, so the pass will be stopped in. Gattuso, it's not the first one, it's probably the second or third which is able to do. Ronaldinho, his pass did not go through either. It's been a bit of a back and forth coming in, it's kind of giving me those creeps about what happened in the console game, specifically on day number 1, the very first game, when the ball was playing the floor as lava.
I'm still not sure why the substitution have not been made till now though. Everybody is so tired, they can barely breathe on the pitch. But now Pele might be looking for the opening, cut inside, and he is so tired that he cannot even play a straight pass. And I think it is time for some quick subs at this point, and a cross comes in, but GG Buffon, a pretty easy one for him to collect. The Kiwis are coming out really strong on the defensive side. And now onto a break where I think Ruben Diaz is fast enough as well. He's stronger and faster than the majority of the attackers out here. Wins the ball back, gives it back to Pele.
Through Martinez, the healthy one, the only healthy one, takes a second, sends it through, but the defender didn't even know what really hit him out there. Perlo sends it back towards Hazard, out towards the left side of this Shakeel is going to send it back in though, but yeah, it's not happening now. All the players are just way too tired to try and pull anything. No shenanigans whatsoever. It's probably a last chance. It's going to be a straight corner down, grounded. Pele's got that. Wants to make a shot though. Doesn't really matter. New Zealand with a draw against India. So it's not like we're going to have any absolute crazy level of finishing day. It's still 0-0. It's absolutely fine. And the stats are kind of equalized as well between both of the teams if you really see that, right? It's kind of the same. So
Yes.
it doesn't really matter. It's all cool.
I still wonder why no substitution was made in the entire game. And I think he was trying maybe a no sub challenge there, since everybody was just playing for the entire 90 minutes of the game, and I have not seen Danial play like this in a very, very long time. But whatever the case was, we have qualified very easily, table toppers, most goals scored, least goals conceded, all the stats in our favor, and with that, we are on to a journey for the playoffs.
One fact is I kind of like the idea that yes, there was one match which eventually gave us a reality check as well, that we're not really still the strongest out in the group. Yes, we are on top, but we were not undefeated. So that means there's still some possibilities of improvement. There's still some room which Danial has to work with. So for the knockouts, I think so this is a very big advantage as we have a look at the entire scoreline for the day, ladies and gentlemen. We had everything. We had close games with 4-3 scoreline. Then we had some pretty decent games with 3-1 and 2-0s. Then again another close game with 2-1. And then we had an absolute destruction of 10-0.
And then an goalless game as well. So we have seen all the sides of Daniel today. Scoring 10 in one game and then scoring nothing in the other one. So
Yeah.
coin, I would say. The sides of two sides of a single coin. But all in all, the best thing was we defeated Malaysia and Vietnam with at least a +2 differential. And that is what is important. Malaysia, arch rivals, current world champions, have been defeated by us twice. Vietnam, they managed to secure a draw against us. We managed to overturn the result today. So we are improving on a good pace, and that is a really good sign when you are considering playoffs into the action.
Something that you really need to look forward to, right? Because India, yes, in terms of Group B, we've been undefeated technically. Yes, there's one game that we eventually lost. It's absolutely fine. But there's another team that we'll have to worry about. That is playing in Group A. And that is, till now, undefeated. It is going to be the team of Thailand. It is on top. 11 games played, 10 games won. And this is the highest total in terms of points. 31 points by a team. We're still going to stick on 28 thanks to the fact that we lost one game and there's been a couple of draws. So, yeah, that's Thailand we need to worry about at this point.
And they still have a game in hand. So, that game is still going on. So, they can get to 34 points as of now, as I can see on the current tally. They have won 10 of their matches, just drawing one single game. That's a huge achievement. But at the same time, it will be a really good sign we don't have to face them. Table topper teams from both the groups will never face each other in the playoffs. So we will win a different bracket altogether. So that is least of our worries, at least as of now.
That's the best thing you've mentioned out here right now. And again, as the leaderboard is slowly and steadily updating, it's again the middle back team games that are remaining, my man. It's all the 4 teams playing right now. South Korea Republic, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Hong Kong. All of them are going neck to neck against each other. And I'm really liking the games that have been happening on the other end of the spectrum too. I know there's been a bit of a spoilers happening here and there, but out here, Vietnam is actually winning against Malaysia. So that's something that Hong Kong doesn't really want. I'm pretty sure they'd be fully supporting Malaysia, but they've got their own hands full as well in their own game. Because they, again, facing Korea Republic, we know this is the only team that was able to score 4 goals against us and was able to win against India. So this is a very strong opponent to beat.
Well, whatever going on as for the result, those results will determine who will be the 4th place team in our group. But before talking about the groups, let's welcome on stage Danial, our champion player. Huge congratulations, man. Crazy performance yet again. How does it feel?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now, Daniel?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Huge congratulations, man. Crazy performance.
Thank you so much.
How does it feel like to be in the playoffs again?
Yeah, it feels really good. And of course, finishing top as well of the group. That's like the best thing that can happen. Of course, the first game was a bit slow and rough. and that when I conceded 2 goals in a flash, I couldn't figure out what happened actually. But yeah, after that I picked up the pace and made a comeback. So very happy with that.
Do you think it was a bit of a unfortunate scenario as well with you in the previous game? Because, or rather, in the very first game against Korea, because there were a couple of crossbars as well, and a few chances
Yeah,
that should have
yeah,
gone in, they didn't really go through.
yeah. Of course, luck is also a factor, and of course, yeah, as you said, the crossbar as well. I think I hit 3 posts, so yeah, I should
Yeah.
have scored. But again, that's not an excuse. I did make a mistake, and yeah, I have to hopefully come back in the knockouts as well.
Yeah.
All
Now
right.
talking about
Before I send
knockouts.
it back to you, Spartus. Yeah, there's
Okay.
one question that I have. One question. I know I'm pretty excited about this one. You've been undefeated, or rather, you've been on top of the table here, but Thailand has been
Yeah,
undefeated in Group A. So, is there any
yeah.
team that you're looking forward to in Group A out here for the knockouts?
Yeah, of course, there are a lot of teams. Thailand as well, they are, of course, undefeated, as you said, and Indonesia as well. They are actually a very good team as well, and Japan as well are very good. So these 3 teams, I think, I'm looking forward to play against. Those are very tough
Since
teams.
now you have played against these guys earlier on the global stage in Riyadh already, so you kind of know their game plan. So will we see a counter strategy from what you are used to currently in the Group B for the playoffs? Something new brewing up for the upcoming matches?
Of course, yeah, tactical changes will be made. Of course, as you said, last year, the players have changed, and of course, the team as well has changed now. It's a balanced team. So yeah, it won't be the same as last year. Of course, I know some players, but let's see how it plans out. We'll plan that out.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us. Huge congratulations on the victory and all the best for the playoffs.
Thank you so much for you as well, and the support was incredible. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye. See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Pleasure.
So this is a big factor here that he has already played against them, and how confident he was. Like, yeah, tactical changes will be made because in eFootball, your biggest weapon is your
Yeah,
technicality. All the mechanics of the game
true.
will come secondary if you know how to beat the player on how you set up your playing 11. Like, we have seen India play a 4-2-2,
Yes.
and we were successful against the teams that were playing a diamond shape formation. But now with Thailand, Indonesia, and Japan in the mix in Group A, and we will face them in the playoffs, things will definitely get spicy.
I really am a big fan of those spices out here, man, because that's something that you always enjoy. Because this is something India gave to the rest of the world as well. And hopefully, Daniel would be that extra cherry on top with a mixture of that sweetness with the man that you could see it on his face. He's absolutely down to earth, and it clearly shows in his dedication as well towards the game. I want to see what he's got for the performance in the playoffs itself. You need to win 2 games in order to fly all the way up towards Riyadh. Yes, there was a bit of a turbulence out here in the flight, but ladies and gentlemen, the Indian Airlines are still flying up high on top above everyone else. Will that continue in the playoffs or will it stumble a little bit? We'll find all of that out, but not today. It's going to be tomorrow. So this is it from me, Sahishno, alongside me we had Shivang. You're watching the FIFA eFootball Regional Qualifiers featuring mobile. We'll catch you guys tomorrow with the playoffs action. Till then, good night.